Hello all, Korben from KorbenTech here. Happy to see you for a new video. Before diving in, I'd like to thank the Patreons. Thanks for supporting me, it's cool. If you want to join us, go to patreon.com/Korben for all the information. Today, what are we going to talk about? Let's talk about MidJourney. MidJourney is an AI that allows you to generate images. You'll confirm, you've told us last week you discussed stable diffusion. I tried it, it was subpar, Ali2's quality is the same, etc. It's true, it's valid, not as good. But midday, it's the pinnacle of what you can get in terms of quality. It's really crazy. The video's idea is to demonstrate registration, usage and capabilities of the AI developed by a research lab. The lab monetizes the AI by selling subscriptions because MidJourney is free but has limited trial availability. To get additional trials, payment is required. Prices range from €10 to €30 per month, and for companies it's €600 annually. I say euros, but it's dollars, but hey, we're there. MidJourney is confusing at first as it's used with Discord. If you're not a Discord user, you'll need to create a Discord account to use MidJourney. Before showing you how to do all this, what I can tell you about my use is that I am really impressed by it. It generates high-quality, phenomenal images. There is ongoing research to find the optimal keywords for generating prompts in MidJourney, as the sentences you enter are referred to as prompts. An economy is being created around this, where people create prompts and others buy them through marketplaces. Tools enable generating prompts more easily. Prompts, it is the nerve of war. Knowing how to compose your prompt ensures a good image. I suggest we meet on my screen for this MidJourney discovery. To start the adventure, it happens on the website midjourney.com, so it's spelled midjourney.com, and you will come across this website. Something very bad causing computer slowness, a knife-cuttable animation with multiple options available. So there is the small menu up there, especially the gallery that we will see later, and here you have the sign in and join beta. So if you don't have an account yet, you will need to click on join beta. There he will offer you an invitation on Discord. You accept the invitation, you open Discord, and you will be propelled to the midday Discord. Well, I'm already registered, so I don't have the initial procedure anymore. But basically, he gives you instructions to validate your account, etc. And then you're put on the waiting list. So, while waiting for your account to be approved, what you can do is start documenting yourself with the getting started, which explains how MidJourney works, etc. What you can do within company. So we have demos, lots of vocab, but we'll show in the video, so no issues at that level. I'll show you how I use it in the simplest and fastest way without having to go through all the documentation. Where it's nice is that to drool a bit, if you click on Community Showcase, you'll have what has been generated by people. Let's assess others' methods to understand quality level and attainable details so you can gain insights before formulating our own strategy. Look, this is an image generated with MidJourney. So there, I zoomed in, you see we have an image of a little girl. We observe it's generated as there are minor issues with the eyes. MidJourney isn't very effective for the eyes. He's coping, but it's complex. And there, actually, what's intriguing is that below, we have the creator's name and all the keywords used. That's the recipe, actually. If we put this in MidJourney, a character from D&D, a cute child looking at the camera with white skin, etc. In short, we have many parameters to achieve the optimal result, because MidJourney can generate photos like this one. Many photos like this, slightly highlighted style. I'll try to show you more. Here we have more like this. So here we have a graphic style that is quite oriented towards photography. But we can have other things, that is to say we have the search engine. And if I type cartoon, I will have other styles of images. So it's to show you that in fact it has a tool that allows you to produce any type of image. It's insane. We even have stylized things like that because it uses the artist's style. I'll show you later. So there we saw the drawings, we saw the photos. If I type painting, it gives me paintings, so we're not really sure. We are dealing with fairly realistic paintings. Here we also have this kind of painting. And see, when we look at the prompt below, we have a painting by Henryk Zimeratsky. Aphrodite paintings, Aphrodite cosplay with Jodie Comer. I don't know Jodie Comer, but it uses her face. You see here we have an illustration that is a bit more digital art. Well, there are many possibilities, we can do a lot. Various formats, not required to create vertical images like this, can create horizontal images like that. Renderings are amazing in terms of quality. This is for the website part of MidJourney. I have an account, so I'll sign in with my Discord account. We can see everything I've generated in my personal gallery, including iterations, tests, etc. But here there's a nice little menu called All, where you can filter the photos, and so I can choose the upscale, because when you do tests like that, you can create what's called upscale, that is to say really high quality versions, that you can then use as you wish. As I was saying, Midday is crazy, and what is interesting is that the photo usage license is very permissive. You can use them for commercial purposes, whatever you want. You can make t-shirts, stickers, you can really do whatever you want since the photos belong to you. They also belong to MidJourney, used for its algorithm, but belong to you. Available in gallery, so I guess it's a bit open to everyone. Technically, you're the creator, so you can commercially exploit it. Small lines exist, we'll review later if you want. Some of the tests I did tried to make Christine Lagarde after an epic battle, to have a real face actually, it's tests, no particular fetishism for Mrs. Lagarde, but here you go. Here you see I'm trying to zoom in so you can get an idea of the quality. For example, I made this little dragon with detailed quality in terms of metal. I made a version Emmanuel Macron Young Thug, for those who know. Well, lots and lots and lots of stuff. So I am really into realistic photos, it is kind of my thing right now. But we can try other things like this. We focus on drawing, painting and showcasing our unique style. I'll demonstrate the possibilities and the diverse range of our work. Once we have our account here, we can do searches in our personal section. On the community feed part, it's a bit what I showed you earlier. So we see what is hot, what is rising, that is to say what has just been done and is climbing in the rankings somewhere. New releases. Not all well loaded there, strangely, but here it is. The news, here we have a style supposed to be GTA style. Oh no, it's not specified. And we have the top, that's it, of current work. This is what people usually like in galleries because we can favorite and use smileys to say it's beautiful, it's not beautiful, etc. Depending on our preferences, you have a channel section here, behind there, behind me. It also enables you to view various image categories classified by Midday. So there, the theme of the day is a bit autumn, I think. So there you go, he put that on us. Here we have exclusively characters, the beginners channel. With beginners images, that's already not bad for beginners, I admit we're not too bad. For the feed, there's mine, there's what I've bookmarked, and then we have tools on the Midday website. It's a kind of map with generated content. So if, for example, I dive a little into the map, we can see here the users with the words they use, the concepts, etc. So it's something that is quite heavy, this card there. I don't really use it, but oh well. Then one of the sections of upscale. So this is a bit to cast a vote for images. It provides you with points, etc. So we can like that note random images. So he will go get some pictures and then we say what we think about them. Are they disgusting, meh, cool, or absolutely amazing? Here we have a Madonna version, I find meh, then a small turtle, yeah, meh, not bad, I like it, etc. Here we see the archives, and what's interesting is that we have a dictionary. We'll come back to it later, but the dictionary is useful because it allows keywords for our creations. For example, with the keyword armored, you'll have people in armor. If I want more about armor, I type armored in the search engine and see the keywords. I am able to utilize armored, armored, armory, marmored, alright, and subsequently armed creatures, things of that nature. If I type a woman, we'll see what I have, so it offers me different types of women in quotes. Here we discuss art, but then we can enhance it so it understands all words, it's like a dictionary. So we can say like that, I would like to give a style like this to my images, but I don't know which keyword to use, and well, we have a little preview of the thing. For example, sneeze. It's for sneezing, so the image is ugly, I admit, but we could use it later for our creations, we'll make some. And then we have styles. So this is another fantastic aspect of MidJourney. They have actually digitized, let's put it that way, the style of a whole bunch of artists. Some complain, disagree, don't want their style used, others are deceased, don't care, but overall we can plagiarize, in quotation marks, cyber plagiarize graphic styles like that. So there, not everything, but if I want Monet's style, I type Monet and get all Monets that come out. And I have Clone Monet here, so I can use it. MidJourney will understand it. If I want to check if Matt Groening is on the list, no. For example, if I want Simpsons in the style of Matt Groening, he will probably do it for me, because MidJourney is quite powerful. but it is not a style that is referenced in this library of artists. Well, that was a bit to go around the app in terms of rates as well. Before getting into the generation, you see we have a free version that is limited, and then if you pay, you will have a little more stuff. For 10 months, you can generate 200 images a month, and for 30 months, you generate an unlimited number of images. And then there's the business plan for companies with a little more budget. What's interesting is that there are different modes, including relax, so there's a fast and relax mode. The fast mode uses a lot of GPU power to generate images instantly. Basically, depending on the plan you choose, you have more or fewer GPU hours in fast mode available. And the relax mode is a little slower, of course, if you are not in a hurry, which also helps to save your GPU usage. This is used with the /relax and /fast. I don't specifically use it, but here it is. That was the interesting part, and also on the commercial part, you see it's written, I'm not telling you lies, it's written that we are free to use the images as we wish, and even if we are a company, we can use them as long as we make less than $1 million in annual revenue. $1 million. So there, I'm fine. Below $1 million voyar, so I won't have much trouble with that. And there are the terms of services, so the general conditions of use which are indicated on Discord. You can read them if you want, but the main idea is that MidJourney is still open, everyone shares the images. All our images are automatically shared with the community. However, there is a small package, an additional paid option, not necessarily documented but must be written somewhere in their documentation, which enables you to keep the generated images private. There you go, keep them private so you can avoid them being put in the gallery, but you still have to pay extra, so that was for the website part of MidJourney. I suggest that we have a fun experience with Discord. When you are on the free plan and you are in the MidJourney channel here, once your account is validated and once you have access to the beta, it opens the newcomer rooms, which are rooms here for beginners, for people who want to engage in trials, tests and other activities, and those on free packages. So we can use the bot like this. I'll show you how to use it. Generate images. So it's a bot, a Discord bot, so you just have to type a / and enter the keyword. You have the /imagine for generating the image, the /subscribe for offering subscription, and stories of fast, relax, private access, public access, and adjusting settings. The bot performs various tasks, providing a glimpse of the available features and functionalities that you can explore and utilize. We can ask questions to the Midday team if we want. In short, what interests me is Imagine. When we use this option, Imagine suggests a prompt to me. In this prompt, I put whatever I want, and now you can ask him anything. For instance, I'll request a Mickey Mouse portrait using clone currency, as we discussed earlier. Here, I'm starting this command. And well, he's complaining because he says I've already abused, so since I have a paid subscription, I go via the bot. But it's the same op, I'll show you. This is about the public thing, and now I have with my subscription, I have direct access to the bot privately at midday. In fact, I'm speaking privately to the bot. But if you go see, it's the same concept. So I'll do an Imagine, put my sentence back, a portrait of Mickey Mouse by Clone Money. It will start and by default generate 4 images. I wrote 2 Mickey Mouse, made an error, must write in English obviously. But he'll get it. It may take more or less time, but we're already in fast mode, Even in fast mode, I find it slow. But after all, it's normal, it takes a little time. And you see the image, refined, sorry. All images sharpening, he gives me 4 right away. After he's done, buttons below with U1, U2, U3, U4 become available. So that means it corresponds, U1 is image number 1, 2 is image number 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. Well, you understood that. U, it means upscale, it's if you want to get a better version of image number 1 or a better version of image number 2, etc. V1, V2, V3, V4, same, corresponds to each image except here dealing with variations. So that is to say I like this image, but I would like it a little different, so I could click variations. And then, here we have a blue button with 2 recycling arrows. It will start generating the thing again. So I'll show you, if I click on it, it'll redo the same request as the one I just made, and it'll offer me 4 new ones. So now, the goal of the game with this tool is to find one that suits you. So it works by iteration, we do it like this, we reload, etc. And when we have something we like, we can push it a little further. So, there you are, wondering how he manages to generate these images. Well, it's AI, so it has analyzed a lot of images, keywords, and many other things, and it is able to create an image from scratch and refine it based on the criteria I have given. So there you go. For example, I really like the latest one. Well, I'll do U4 for an upscale version. And then I can also do V4 to have a variation. So the upscale version, you see he tells me upscaling image 4. So he does the same thing again, and then he will do it in good quality. If I choose a variation, it shows the image, so we can see and open it in a browser. It actually uses and calls the image and says, there you go, you make me a variation. So I had variations honestly a bit failed of my initial image, but finally I like this one. At 63% already see it's clean, so well, he has a little weird ears, a Mickey, but well. And it's getting thinner and thinner, and there it is, improving as the percentages increase. And there you go, when I finish, it gives me the image, then I see it here in large, and it's good quality. If you're nearby, in the public area of MidJourney, it scrolls a lot. You know, people suggest a lot of prompt and many images scrolling. To find your messages and the responses the bot brings you with the images, there's something called inbox here in Discord, and you can find the messages MidJourney sends you based on what you've generated. It's faster than going back up, scrolling through the constantly moving downward flow. Here, we have various options. After upscaling the image, we decided to choose this particular one. We have a remaster function that can create a completely new version of the image from scratch. We have an upscale in beta, so it will redo the image by enlarging it a little, by improving it even more, but with the beta function. We can give it a shot, and then we have the identical thing here, but in a much lighter way. It will rework it with little effects. There you go, very lightly. We'll click on it too so I can show you. And we have upscale to max 2, which will generate the image at its maximum, and then we have another button to make more image variations. Here we also have a web button leading to the gallery, which leads to your midday profile on the website with the image, the prompt we used, the time, the date, the size, etc. And then here are buttons to copy the command. Copy the command, it will actually copy this to the clipboard. Copy the prompt, it's the same, except it'll also add keywords in addition, but no input. I'll show you later. We can copy the job ID. I haven't seen how we could reuse it yet, but we have a kind of unique identifier for our image. I think we should be able to reuse it later. And we can save it, so that's interesting. And put it in favorites, then qualify it if we like it or not. Now that I've done that, I can show you what it looks like. Here we have the beta upscale, the new version of my Mickey. There you go, it's a little better than the previous one. You see the previous one, there were a lot of details on it. It was quite busy, well there were a lot of points, it's quite busy. Here it brings a kind of sweetness. So the beta upscale allowed this, it reworks the image to give it a more painted look. Interesting. It's a rework done afterwards. If I put it bigger next to it, you see we're more on painting anyway. While the other one I was really on a very heavy image a bit, this one is softer. The light version is a bit different, it's a bit less good, it depends on the image type you're editing, but it still gives you another option. And here I have the maximum resizing, I have the maximum remaster. So this is the remastered and enlarged version to the maximum. Same here, we're on something heavy, but it's like everything, about tastes, colors, all that. Up to you to see which image you're most sensitive to, what pleases you in the end. It's like music and all the arts, no recipes, miracles, tricks that are beautiful, ugly, etc. Depends on your sensitivity. And there, same thing, I made variations, so it takes the same image and gives me ugly variations in the end. That was about MidJourney's basic functioning. We'll try again, but this time we'll integrate parameters. We'll change, do a portrait. We won't do a portrait, we'll ask him for a photo of the Eiffel Tower on fire. And except that now I can add extra parameters, especially on the format I want to get. I'll show you. By default, we have 4 squares. If I capture the Eiffel Tower on fire, for instance, it will generate 4 squares like that, and I can select. Ultimately, I desire images with a 1:1 ratio, so that's what I aim to achieve. Here is a square like on Instagram. However, we can modify that. We can have some more pleasant things. To do that, simply specify. So I will put my prompt sentence back and add the parameter r space to achieve the desired changes. And there, you choose the ratio you want. So you can take a photo in 16:9, so you make 16 2 points, and there you see he proposed 4 images in 16.9 format. Clearly, if I reverse it, instead of putting 16:9, I put 9:16, I will have a format that is reversed and flipped, thus becoming vertical. practical for making wallpapers, backgrounds for your mobile. Later, we have other more specific formats, especially the 1016, widely used by people who do portraits, especially during midday. So it's slightly wider finally. For a TV format, a 4/3 format, you can specify input 4/3, there you go. IG is 4/5, so for example, if I want to take a pic for IG, 4/5 will be just fine. You can add the images and ratios you want. For instance, I can set a ratio of, I don't know, 1 or 3, we'll see how it goes. So it's more crushed, we can generate wallpapers. Well, I'll change the photo of the Eiffel Tower on fire, it's not cheerful. I'm going to put a big cat, hairy, fluffy, I don't know how to say it, with a Pokemon style, that's what it looks like. There, in fact, I can specify behind the size, i.e. the width and height of my image. For that, I use the parameter W for width, and there I can put 1920 if I want to make a wallpaper. And then I use H to set the height to 1080. I launch the command, and you can see the ratio on the wallpaper clearly. 1920 x 1080, but you can put any size. It's not the size we have now, for now it generates things for us. Initially, it's blurry, you wonder where he wants to go, etc. With each refresh, it gradually becomes clearer. He finished, you see. Some positives. It's not perfect, but here it is. For instance, this one pleases me. The upscale, so it's number 3, and it will enhance it for me. There it is, a bit blurry, undetailed, then you see it refining. I'll remove Mickey, he's creepy. Image done, still working on something more elaborate despite some errors. Not perfect, but okay for now. I did not put much in my prompt, I did not build the image enough in the end, I put something quick. But it's to show you the size. Now MidJourney has additional parameters, that's my other attempts. We'll redo a prompt and put Pokemon 4, okay? Just that. This is what you saw at the beginning, it will generate 4 for me. Show contrast between parameters will add and default behavior. Asked him to buy Pokemon, not sure what that means or its significance. I take the Pokemon to have a kind of thing a little drawn anyway, which does not exist in the real world. Clearly we laugh at a painting, also I find it quite pretty. He finished, here's the result, I'll add parameters like this. We have different parameters to add. So I'll order the same thing, a Pokemon cat, but I'll give him the parameter test. So the parameter test is a mode that can be used for testing purposes to generate images. They have that, something tested on one side of midday, but images are better quality in my opinion. And we have another test mode called test P. So the P stands for photo, meaning it will generate photorealistic images too. So there he does not make 4, he only makes 2. But we will have images that will be a little nicer because they use the new MidJourney model, which is the test model. It's a beta thing, so it's random. We can have good things as well as not so good things. But it's worth testing anyway. You see, we are getting closer to a Pokemon style. We were on the pretty picture but painting, and now we are more on a Pokemon cartoon style as we could see them on TV or in books. With test P I get a result that is more photo. Let him finish, but see the one on the right is definitely more abundant in photography. In any case, with the P test, the left one fails a bit, but the P test there is really on a photo style, so we may think it's a real cat. A genuine Pokemon. They have many parameters which I won't detail, but you can choose, for example, with the V parameter, the algorithm's version. Q, the quality. Be careful, if you increase the quality of an image, it means that the algorithm will work more on the image and you will burn more GPU. So it can cost you more money. You can also add some chaos to your images. That is to say, a little more abstraction. For instance, here I made a Pokemon cat, he made me a Pokemon cat. But I can tell him, for example, I added chaos, and I told him to make me a Pokemon cat with 20% random insertion. Here it reaches 100, we'll see his response to me. Will I get a Pokemon cat or something else? I didn't use a test P for a photo, so I'll probably have a drawing instead. Basically, we add unknown elements in the end, in the generation, in the algorithm. You can see that I have 2 landscapes created that are unrelated to a Pokemon cat. Here I have a small cat coming. Don't count your chickens before they hatch. It's done. But you see we have these parameters. And after everything I showed you earlier, that is to say the light upscaler, the beta upscaler, etc. These are objects you can call directly. For instance, I will combine different parameters together. I will say, for example, I want a wallpaper, 9/16. I want it to be photorealistic, so I'm going to buy the test P parameter. I desire it to be slightly upscaled. I am going to shoot up light over there. If I wanted to add beta, I add beta, etc. And there's a parameter I haven't mentioned. It's the creative parameter. He will also include a small amount of chaos, but it will be well balanced in order to make your photo a little more creative precisely. When generating, I can't use uplight parameter with testp, so I'll remove it, but that's it. So, what I was saying is that creative mode should be used precisely with test or test EP as parameters, but uplight does not apply to the new test model, so we will stay like this. There you see it doesn't create 4 images for me, as I wanted the creative mode, but it will only generate 1. Afterward I can do an uplight or an up beta, we can do that later. One thing I haven't done, I'll let it generate, but I'll also show you, possible to generate a video from what we see, it makes a video. And to have this parameter, you simply need to add video in the prompt. So it will be a little slower, the video parameter takes a little more time, but it remains reasonable nevertheless. While waiting for video generation, we can watch, see creative mode. We're at 95%, almost done, but we just generated a new Pokemon in a different location. It's funny, he added a small watermark at the bottom, a little thing, but it's part of the little things that can overflow, because he processes a lot of images, etc. Sometimes he rearranges things like that. But these are things that can be easily removed with any editing software. You won't have any problems removing this kind of stuff. The video is generated but not visible immediately. You must send an emoji, a reaction to view the message. So when you have your message in Discord here, you added a reaction. And there you type envelope and you send the envelope there. And him, you see, he sends you info about your image. He has a seed, a job ID. There's a video here in MP4 that I can open. So I show you a bit, I'll play it, hop, and there we see the gen in fast forward. To get the video link, put the envelope reaction on Discord message. We have this generation, there you go, quite worked, pretty crazy anyway. But what's interesting is we can retrieve the seed like this. So what will the seed allow? Well, it enables adding as parameters to move away from this image a bit. So actually I'm going to do seed, I put 14492 and I restart the bot. Yes, I left the parameter from earlier, uplight, I'm going to remove it. So with the seed I end up with a Pokemon that looks like the previous one. The creative mode, adding a bit of KO to it, we won't have the exact same, but we'll still have something cool and that will resemble the previous one. If I remove creative mode and relaunch, and if I put the same thing back but add a Christmas hat, we'll see what it generates, but there you go, it will make me do slightly different things. Here it is, first one with creative mode would be called Acid1Form492. Generated something looks like the one I generated there, but a little different. Without modification here, now I'm at 95%, but we can already see a glimpse. Without modifying the text, it's still a Pokemon cat with the same parameters and seed. We're here, that's it, he regenerated another cat for me, inspired by this one, but different, starts again from the model. So that's not bad actually to know how to use the seed to precisely have something that, when you have a good result in something, you can make variations ultimately. That's a bit the secret actually, to succeed in creating similar series of images that respect the same codes with the same models, etc. You can use the seed parameter, and there I tried something else with a Christmas hat, and well, it's clearly a failure. So there, what I showed you is quite basic, quite simple. It's the basic parameters of Midday, but we can do much more elaborate things. And then for that, I'll demonstrate how I do it. So there are numerous tutorials, documentations, dictionaries, etc. We can go with Dedico, we can go and see in the tools, like I showed you the dictionary, what we want. So there, it's random words, but we can use this dictionary. There's the style that can also be used. I don't have any painting to do, but if I go and take the Monet and Mickey clone I did earlier as an example, maybe I won't start over. If I'm looking for a style or keyword like cyberpunk, it's not an artist. But here can have cyberpunk stuff. So there's cyberpunk 77. Here, these are a few suggested keywords. So let's say only cyberpunk, I enjoy it, I am able to utilize it. So for instance, if I stick to my Pokemon story, I can use keywords. So I'll write Pokemon 4 like before, then I'll put a comma, and there I'll add the keyword cyberpunk. Because I think it's cool, I think I would like him to be anthropomorphic. So I don't know if he doesn't understand that word for now. So there are many words, it is a bit strange, words that I do not know. Massaging produces tractors. I'll watch Pokemon, you'll see I have Pokemon styles that match. I'll use Mafia Pokemon as an example. We will add it in style. Moving on to slightly realistic stuff. For example, there's photorealista, a keyword that can be added to illustrate the point. On a photorealistic, after there were also quite a few errors. These images are terrible. I'm sorry if it bothers you, but it bothers me anyway. We have the term ultra real, we'll add it too. Now my Pokemon will have fur, so I'll see what it offers in terms of fur. Baby fur, Furby, a Furby look could be nice. Sulfurina, here I have a word, Sulfurina, I don't know what it is, we'll add it. Sulfurina, there you go. Launching with test P parameter for a photo. We'll have squares, let's see how it goes. So these keywords can be utilized or employed somewhere. It is not feasible to test each and every one of them, but we can gain a glimpse of what it ultimately achieves. Here we can clearly see the cyberpunk side with the pink and the grayish blue of the background. We have the Pokemon Mafia aligned with the Pokemon that is slightly intimidating, that is the Pokemon Mafias. The photorealistic and ultra-realistic aspect should arrive soon as we are halfway through the generation, so as it improves, we will have a Pokemon that should be fairly realistic. And we have Sulfurina, a type of fur, I don't know what, so let's see what we get in terms of fur. Here is the result. So here we have a Pokemon that is more drawn, but is in the real world, like Detective Pikachu for those who know it. Dealing with realism, we have something elaborate with fur, even if it's horrible, I wouldn't want to adopt this one, but there you go. We are on a set that appears real anyway. So you see, it respected the keywords I provided it with a little bit. We can work like this with keywords, so it's up to you to explore a little. And then, what I recommend if you want to play is to go here in the community streams, you see, and look at the images you like. For example, here I have a dragon, which is realistic anyway. We have a level of quality far above my ugly Pokemons. Well, what you can do there is look at this sentence there, the prompt that was used. You can copy it, prompt here, and then do an imagine prompt. And so it says amazing portrait of a cute baby dragon. So there I'm going to put cute baby Pokemon 4. Highly detailed with very beautiful lights by Weta Digital. Weta Digital, I don't know them, but they must be a studio, well in any case an artist, a studio that does 3D. By Art Gem by Huanja, so these are clearly mentioned artists. In 8K film static octane rendering. So octane render, we often see it mentioned, but in fact it is a renderer. So it is a rendering engine that is a commercial engine that is widely used by people who do 3D, cinema, that kind of thing. And so somewhere I'll try to get a result that comes close to that, but with a baby Pokemon. I will add the parameter test step to it, so HDR10 is also for HDR, because there are some cool things like adding the type of camera, grain on the photo, a photo in the style of the 80s for example, I can add that. We'll put this, I'm guessing, we'll see. If I look in the keywords, I type 1980. Here I have 1980 with an S. I'll have a rendering 80. So I'm going to put as keyword, there you go, 1980. But if I'd written style 80, he'd interpret it anyway, because he interprets all words. Here it's a specific style that'll be added, so I'll generate it and we'll see how it goes. So there you go, he's done. So I have my two images. I'll say the right one pleases me most, upscale it, and get a super high quality image of that Pokemon. Here, but you see, here we're really on a 3D rendering finally, with a pretty fur, and we're on a Pokemon cat. In short, the deal is kept finally. At noon, it's about knowing how to talk to the machine with the right words, finding the right parameters, etc. We can see the 80s style a bit, very light here, especially on the left, this kind of little halo, like an old film, like an old photo film, well, in any case, like an old photo. We have this feeling a bit there, on this image. After, it's just small, subtle things like that, but I'll show you later how I managed to generate characters, you know. So here, if I zoom, we'll admire the work, you know. So we're on something pretty crazy anyway. So yes, it takes time, work, but it's worth it. Later, in style, you can, e.g., create, finally, specify Japanese style, Pixar film. You'll have Pixar-shaped characters. You can say you want a painting like Andy Warhol or Leonardo da Vinci. So for example, in the images I generated, I can show you, here the prompt I used was that. Portrait of a pouting young woman, appearing grumpy, conveying an unattractive and fatigued appearance. She's not ugly, but she looks tired. I wanted us to see her whole face because sometimes the part is hidden, the face is top. Look directly at the camera, she's outside, a bit cinematic, so we're a bit on a cinema thing. You see the corners are rounded, etc. There is grain on the photo, 80s style, cinematic lighting in 8K, rendered with Unreal Engine, also Octane, photorealistic 8K, etc. But well, you see, so here for example, if I take it back, copy the command, put it back as is. So here it actually shows the original image, the one I have, that I just showed you. We can remove it to not give any clues. Instead of putting a young woman, I'll put a young man. Won't put that he's ugly because it won't show, won't make too much of a difference, but we'll still test it. I launch it like this, and then I will add a parameter to, for example, tell it that I want it to be a style like Andy Warhol's, for example. So I'll add that hop. I remove the ultra-realistic side, will be on a painting. So I remove this photorealistic side. Ultra-detailed isn't necessary either. I'm going to remove it. But it will be an Andy Warhol style painting. Meanwhile, I have my young man who is tired, who is sulking, who is generating himself. So after considering all these parameters, we are unable to guess them. You have to physically go to the galleries in order to find them, to be inspired by them. Here, I attempted some Pixar-style things. I possess a portrait of an individual, of a male, Pixar. There I made an attempt. Emmanuel Macron in Pixar mode as well. I generated reports with highly detailed armors. For this realistic photo, which is good, we're talking about realism. You see all the parameters I had to put in. So, I did not invent them, but I went to acquire them from various photos from different prompts and sources. Many interesting things inside because there you go. Here I'm sharing the idea. It's already a portrait. In fact, everything needs to be explicit in what you do in terms of midday generation. So it's a portrait, a photo. I want it to look like a photo. Whether it's a portrait of a woman, okay, born after an epic battle, so she's a little inflated like that, you see. She resembles Christine Lagarde's face. But if I had put Gal Gadot's face, it would have been Gal Gadot. We can do it if you want later. I wear short white hair in order for us to locate this Lagarde spirit. Green eyes, because that is what she possesses in armor. So the armor didn't work out too well, but well, you know, in a representation style like Jeanne d'Arc, you see. Added dirt to her since she still fought, not completely clean, little dust. She's pouting, bit gloomy and foggy, so it's blurry behind, bit. There it is, she shines, etc. a little. I tried to put a flag with a Bitcoin logo. It didn't work, it didn't take it into account. To inform you, he also doesn't consider everything. 8K is for high quality, HD, ultra detailed, ultra realistic, direct camera contact, important, she looks at the lens. We state the location, it's in a post-apocalyptic battlefield in order to create a little atmosphere. If at any time it was in a forest with candy canes hanging from the trees, we would have had it as well. There she's hot, sweating, etc. She has realistic eyes, and then that's a bit all the details. We want the eyes to be detailed and the face to be detailed too. These are small parameters like that. Hair should be detailed. Finally, everything must be explained. When composing an image like this, you can either randomly select and adjust elements based on gallery findings, or you should even sketch the desired image beforehand, specifying details such as placement, e.g. top right, desired level of detail, etc. Then you can say, e.g. I add metal and gold, so there's no gold, but there's a bit of metal here. And then there are lots of things, so I don't think I had to put everything, but since it's there, it was a copy-paste somewhere. I had a photo shoot with a cinema-style color grading, editorial photo, to be used, for example, in a magazine, on a magazine cover, etc. Studio lights, that's what I desire. I desire there to be soft lights, lights that are more difficult, volumetric light to provide this three-dimensional aspect a little bit, you see. Different lights that are split, shadows, reflections, etc. So you see there are a lot of things. And then we have the option to add parameters like CGI, VFX and so forth for special effects. Incredibly detailed, okay then. There you go. I can't tell you exactly what worked or not. But see, for example, the Rembrandt type light. Rembrandt here. Rembrandt type lighting. Therefore chiaroscuro with brighter areas, darker areas, etc. So at some point, Christine Lagarde has never been as beautiful as she is with MidJourney. But here it is. Watermark. It enables removal. Sometimes on paintings, on generated images, I informed you, small ersatz of watermark or signatures may appear. We can remove them like this. So finally, that is a lot of small parameters like that to put. There is still here, he manages to spot here the keywords that allow to find other things that I would have used in my compositions. So, have a look at what I managed to accomplish. Regarding the young man's 80s style, you can see that he's not too shabby. His nose is slightly crooked, but overall it appears to be a genuine photo. I also have another one, which has more of an Andy Warhol style. So, I'm unsure if Warhol took photos, but anyway, here we are in black and white, there you go. I'll capture a Viking portrait I made with the same content. There, it was like the ones I showed you earlier. And we'll do one last photo example, so I'll copy the prompt, paste it, and show you that we can replace the face. Because I saw a female Viking warrior after a fierce battle. I'm currently in armor, please don't judge me. No, actually, it's because I took some examples and I started from there, actually. So these were examples with armor because we were on a Game of Thrones theme, as you can see here. There you go, but we maintain that spirit. So now she has blonde hair. I'm going to eliminate the word blonde and I'm simply going to include, on parlait de Gal Gadot tout à l'heure, donc on va mettre Gal Gadot face. Here I'll regenerate an image completely different from this one, but in the same spirit. Viking, battle champion, piercing gaze, etc., but with Gal Gadot's head. We'll see how it goes. As parameters, I'm going to add obviously the parameters test P and creative. I really like these two parameters because it adds a bit of suspense. And test P because we are on a more photo model finally. So I didn't specify a size, I could also specify a size. I'm going to put in 9/16, so R 9/16 or 10/16, sorry, to have wider for portraits. We'll regenerate, we'll see. So like that, when we have paid option for midday, we can generate several things on the fly. And you see we're starting to recognize Gal Gadot a bit, slowly taking shape. Well, she's played armored roles, so it must be easier too. But what I really like about midday on this is that we can do paintings, wallpapers, funny things. Paintings a little like this one that I did of Kim Jong-un, I tried a little in Simpson version. So they are a little yellowish, but well, it doesn't really look like Matt Groening's work. I had fun, e.g. I made Donald Trump in armor or in a skeleton mode. And in a pretty painting, it could make a wallpaper. We have this one, which takes on the style of a comic book artist named Lee Bermejo. Bermejo, I don't know how to express it. And thus we find ourselves on a humanoid robot on a beach, enjoying a cocktail. Basically, that's it. The description you see, it fits in 2 lines. No need to make a fuss, he applies the style of Liber Medium. No need, want metallic gold colors, specified background with sunset, but that's it, you know. No need for anything else, only those specific elements. On something pretty. After, it depends on what you want to do. If you want to go into details like Armor Geeks there, well, they didn't add much, photorealistic, but there you go, specify as ultra-real, photorealistic, etc. No need to put too much, I showed you the extreme cases, but each keyword is important. You have to know how to dose, it's a lot of sensitivity, because there are details. For example, on the llama, if you look at the keywords, you see that it's anthropomorphic in nature. Anthropomorphic, it means the animal resembles a human, has human characteristics. So there isn't really one, but he wears armor, well, at least some kind of helmet, something like that. He is majestic, that is definitely for sure, so we are dealing with extremely fine things in terms of design. And there you see, I said he had highly detailed armor. So, highly detailed, it's really these small things that we see, these small golden details there, with an intricate watermark in the design. We see there's a watermark, many things like that, photorealistic obviously, and all the work of light. When working on an image, you must consider everything. You need to think about the main subject, details, and background you want to use. To make this background blurry with things behind it, consider the lighting, illumination, rendering, and whether you prefer an artist's rendering or a more 3D rendering, etc. Lots of work. There you go, Gal Gadot inversion. Well, his eyes are odd, but we have it like this. Let's say I like this image, I like the eyes, I'm going to do that. I send the envelope, he replies. He tells me it's CID 7411. I continue my text, I restore the parameters test step, creative, the parameter CID, which is thus here 7411, and I will include somewhere in it something like symmetrical eyes. Here, and symmetrical face. Here I have a rather symmetrical face and symmetrical eyes. And I can include perfect eyes. I must already possess that, a realistic eyes feature. Detail eyes, I even have it twice, on realistic. But it's a weak point in MidJourney, these eye stories. But I'll show you a trick afterwards to solve the problem. Here are the results, so I forgot to specify the size of the image, the 10th, 16th side, for vertical, so it made 2 small squares. But well, we are here, you see the eyes are more perfect. we have, well, blue eyes, but that is not what I specified. But anyway, we have a symmetrical face, you see? So there, it's less Galgado, so I kind of messed up his face, but there you go. Symmetrical face, symmetrical eyes. We're onto something a little better in the end. Finally, so better it's the same, always a matter of taste, but in any case, eye quality, rendering at eye level is better. After that, it's just small touch-ups. For example, if I take this photo, I'll show you a little trick that's not perfect, because the image you'll generate will be of slightly lower quality, but it allows to fix some bugs. It's not obvious. I'll take this image. Unsure if I upscaled it, it's not really clear to me. I'll do it big, beautiful, even bigger. It restarts the command with the upBeta parameter. If you want top level direct, you can specify upBeta directly. Here, I have a rather big version with these eyes that are a bit crazy and not doing very well. And then this grain, it feels a bit strange. The armor is well made, but the rest is a bit weird. I saved the picture and I am going to work on a project called GFPGAN, which is an open source project. So what is GFPGAN? It's something you can find on GitHub that allows you to do face restoration. Let me show you, I'll show you a bit of the demo, but we'll open it directly. There you go, look. In fact, you see there we are on a photo that is a bit artificial and he manages to soften the face a little. An example that's telling is this one where we see if you have old photos at home, it might be useful. We see this old photo on the left there, which was then reworked by the tool with the same thing of artificial intelligence, which makes the faces a little better. We go from something quite vague, quite degraded, to a more precise rendering. It can be a bit ugly, it depends on what you do. So there are various sites, different demonstrations actually. I opened this particular one, but I prefer the one from Pugging Face. But you also have the collab, the Google collab, so you can generate from a Python notebook and make it work, etc. as you desire. Therefore, I will capture my photograph of Galgado at this location with his eccentric head in view. I'll pick the 1.4 and we'll submit. Rescaling factor is for size. He'll double the size, I believe. And in reality, this tool will simply soften the image, recreate it, and ultimately provide it with a more natural appearance in some manner or fashion. Here's the result. You can see we have a photo that is, so I'll download it to see it closer. This eye problem is not completely solved, but we are still far from what we had. We have something better. We will focus on the face. Here's the face I had. Once passed through the grinder, we end up with something like this, which recreates and gives him a more human face. So this is a small trick. After the photo, the image is less sharp, it's more blurry indeed. You see there is a little bit of a blurry side, but here, once we zoomed out a little bit, if the image is still of good quality, it's still acceptable. So it smooths the skin slightly, it eliminates a small amount of that generic midday grain that can be somewhat unattractive at times. You see grain there a bit, and we have something smoother and more natural. The problem with the eye was tough, but it fixed somehow. The lip, it fixed it a bit too. It's not perfect, but nothing stops you from doing touch-ups by hand later. Finally by hand with your software, Photoshop, whatever you want, always a way to edit photos if needed. So that was the little trick. It is called GFPGAN. It is a face restoration tool, that kind of thing. But then there are applications and software that allow you to perform that task and achieve similar results. I noticed people uploading pictures on FaceApp, an app that transforms you into a woman or a man, allowing you to apply lipstick, age yourself, and make other transformations. They load the image in there and then they can do the final touches if they want. So, well, it's part of the options available. So I admit that I'm still at the beginning of all this, midday. I haven't been practicing for long. It's quite addictive. I'm quite hooked. I like it. It takes time. Concretely, for example, to illustrate my website, making an image with midday. Okay, but I will have to settle for a particular style, an artist, as I showed you earlier. For a detailed task like what we did with Galgado, thanks to her for playing along, if I wanted something very detailed, it would take too much time. No time for that. We need many keywords, iterations, tests, etc. It's somewhat loose, lacking precision. But if you have a specific project in mind, if you have specific needs, or even if you are an artist yourself and need inspiration, it can be interesting. I made faces, but it also creates beautiful landscapes. It's incredible. I'm showing you some landscapes I made, but here, basically I generated landscapes resembling Iceland with few details. Landscape, there are rays of light, etc. Hyper-realistic. So On landscapes, he's awesome. On faces, he's awesome, even though there are still some small bugs with the eyes. On textures, because then you can generate lots of things. Textures, for example, you can say, I want a texture to do this, to do that. Here you can do everything. Make old posters, make old photos, imagine everything. No limits, actually. Quite amazing about this tool in the end. No limits. It makes me a bit dizzy, that's it, but it takes time. So when I understand a bit more this artist in quotes, who won the contest by saying, yes, I made an image with midday, but it still took me time, reflection, research, work. Yes, I confirm you witnessed it yourself. It needs work, research, thinking, and so on, etc. But we achieve a more than satisfactory result. We could even say magnificent for some strokes of luck, simply by scratching a few keywords here and there. My midday discovery is not fully explored yet, as there are many things to be said and tested. It requires imagination to determine what needs to be done based on our wants and needs. Me, anyhow, my wallpaper was made with that now. I start adding images in my articles, generated with midday, and there you go, and then for fun, for the impressive side of the tool, and we're only at the beginning. That's what we have to tell ourselves. We're just starting, and in my opinion it'll keep evolving. So it'll probably be interesting in the future to see the enhancements. We observe it with the model we use, parameter test P. There may be later ones that are better, but we're talking about some crazy stuff. Hope you enjoyed this video introduction, discovery of MidJourney. It was long, difficult to stop, hard time stopping. Want to do this all day, every time we generate a new image like a drug. Want to improve it, etc. There is a somewhat addictive aspect to MidJourney, so take it easy. In any case, with the free offer, you will soon be restricted after reaching a certain number of tries. But there you have enough to do, thanks to my video, to make tests that won't be too messy and already have good results right away. Here, I'll see you very soon. Join us on Patreon. Those who want, otherwise you know, always the same. Thumbs up, likes, shares, the KorbenTech blog, Twitter, TikTok and company. You can find me everywhere except at your place. Although, are you going to look under the bed? Well, I'll stop talking nonsense and see you soon.